You are welcome to today's program. The story in perspective is about a professor and his driver. Once there was a professor, highly respected, highly educated, and earning very well. He had a driver who took him everywhere. Now, the professor belonged to the high income class, while the driver earned far less, just enough to get by. Naturally, the professor carried bigger responsibility, social status, expectations, and lifestyle. The driver, on the other hand, lived a much simpler life with fewer demands. But there was something unusual about this driver. He understood money in a way the professor didn't. You see, educational status is not the same as financial education. The professor believed his high income was his greatest advantage. But that's how it should be. But unfortunately, he spent freely, carelessly. After stressful days, he will reward himself. I deserve something special. At social gatherings, he spent to maintain status. I must look the part. Sometimes he bought things just to feel successful, bigger cars, bigger toys. But behind the scenes, something was wrong. Despite earning so much, the professor often found himself short of cash. Unexpected expenses would come, and surprisingly, he would borrow money, even from his driver. Yes, the man who earned far less had more financial stability. But the professor never paused to learn. He kept spending, unaware that his decisions were emotional, not logical. But the driver, he has learned financial education early, maybe coupled with the fact that he earns lesser. Then came the turning point for the professor. One day, the driver invited the professor to a small celebration. With curiosity and perhaps a little pride, the professor attended. To his shock, the event was held in the driver's newly completed home. A modest house, yes, but fully built and owned by the driver. Paid for, the professor stood there in silence. This man, with a fraction of his income, had achieved what he had not even started. Not even a single block had been laid for his own house. That moment broke something inside him. Not his pride alone, but his illusion. Bigger salary means bigger status. That's what he used to think. For the first time, he realized it's not how much you earn, it's what you do with what you earn that is very important in life. He was humbled. The professor pulled the driver aside and said, "Please, teach me, how did you do this?" The driver smiled and said something simple, yet powerful. "I learned to control my emotions before I try to control my money." He explained, "When I feel stressed, I don't spend, I plan. When I want to impress people, I remember my future. It is more important than their opinion. When it comes to spending, people's opinion don't matter. My future is very crucial. When I want to feel successful, I invest because real success is built, not displayed." He didn't earn more, yet he lived better. He simply spent with intention, not emotion. From that day, the professor began a new journey. He started asking himself before every purchase, why am I really buying this? He began to wait, to think, to choose. And slowly, he moved from consumption to construction, from appearance to actual progress. Here is the final thought. Financial freedom is not a reward for high income. It's a result of disciplined decisions. break the consumption habit. Let me emphasize, break the consumption habit, and you begin to build a life that truly lasts. Thank you for listening. I am Wale Adewumi.